Alright, so this is my review of the recent Mythic Legions Figura Obscura, Anubis, and Bastet. And you essentially just had to get this when they announced it. I'm not sure if they're still in stock, but you could always check. Um, Follow them on Instagram for Horsemen. They're really good about announcing when they do restocks. And like with all previous Figura Obscuras, I wouldn't be surprised if this released in like a new color scheme or whatever. So don't stress if you didn't get it. And you could probably find these, probably within the next year, if I had to guess. Anyway, so we'll start the review. And there's going to be a double review of both of them. And yeah, so just both excellent figures. So not a whole lot to complain about, but if you want the details, so yeah, let's start. Okay, so we'll start with Anubis. And we'll just do each category, do them both in each category, just do it that way. So let's start with aesthetics. Let's start with Anubis. And this is really my first 2.0 Mythic Legions, and it's just absolutely stunning. So this is just, and I was on the fence about getting these, and they just look so much better in hand. And I'm just going to kind of pan up and just look at the details up and down. Sometimes I get ideas to just kind of paint in more details on a figure, things like that. With this, absolutely nothing. No inspiration whatsoever, because everything is just perfect. So this is just one of the heads he comes with. So aesthetics for Anubis gets an easy 5 out of 5. And yeah, I might be a little biased. I like Egyptian mythology a lot. Not an expert in it by any stretch, but yeah, so definitely interesting to say the least. And let's look at Bastet. Pretty much same thing going here. Amazing details. The golds are just really sharp. And she's pretty big. Like, I know I usually don't, I kind of avoid Mythic Legion's female figures just because they always seem kind of puny, like very small. She's definitely got some like size, like imposing presence on her, so that's good. And same, like, I'm not seeing anything to complain about. Like, I don't see any paint smearing, no scuff marks, nothing. And if you really even look, just like such intricate details, even just like down to the most like tiniest little accessories. They have like sculpting in there, line work, looks really nice. So she gets a 5 out of 5 too. So that's easy to see that they're loaded with detail, both of them. And if you're interested in the background I have, actually came with this release. So it's just the inside cover of the box they came in. So actually I'll just give you a look at those. That's pretty sick. And let's continue. So let's do articulation next. And we'll go with Anubis first. Okay, now the head's going to be a little restricted just given kind of the headgear he's coming on with, but you really can't move it at all. But if you take like the neck piece off and things, yeah, you get the standard gigantic ball joint. So definitely a little bricked off there, but that's just how it's going to be. Let's do the arms. So, and he's a little stiff because he's still kind of new, but yeah, he does go out all the way. And to my understanding, I think this is a 2.0 figure. Yeah, just a 90-degree bend at the elbow. No bicep swivel, which is unfortunate. Yeah, no bicep swivel that I could see. Yeah, no bicep swivel there. And just standard kind of swivel on the wrist. So, pretty standard Mythic Legion stuff. Would have been nice to see like a butterfly joint or something, but nope, just standard articulation that you saw on kind of like the 1.0s, if I'm not mistaken. And again, I'm pretty new to Mythic Legion, so correct me if I'm wrong, but just a gigantic ball joint in the diaphragm like usual, and it works better than a lot of figures that are kind of overbuilt. He comes forward decently well, goes back very well. The belt's kind of holding him back a little bit too, so be aware of that. Yeah, and let's do the legs. The soft piece for the skirt is definitely helpful. Lets his leg come up all the way. He does have a thigh swivel there. Single joint on the knee, which is a little disappointing. So, kind of want a little bit more innovation there. But same kind of swivel, and you get a nice ankle rocker for the feet. So very nicely done there. And I really like the Mythic Legion's ankle rockers. They always work very well. And yeah, he does have a bendy tail. You just had to plug that in. Not going to fool around with that too much because I think bendy wires tend to break if you overuse them. So just be aware of that. Okay, so in terms of his articulation, not a whole lot of innovation here. And some parts are very disappointing, like the lack of a bicep swivel or butterfly joint. So for Anubis, I think I'm going to give him a 3.8. I think that's fair. It's decent articulation. You could get your stances out of him and things, but maybe a little bit more because other companies are kind of really bulldozing ahead in terms of articulation. Like it's getting pretty ferociously competitive. If you see some of these third-party companies from China, incredible articulation, but I digress. Yeah, so I think Mythic Legions is great. Just kind of like maybe step it up in terms of articulation. I did see a Silver Knight figure, which had pretty impressive articulation. If they go that route, I think that's going to be great for them. Anyway, so let's do Bastet next. It's probably going to be more of the same type of articulation, a little bit dated, but it does what you need it to do for the most part. Get a little bit more wiggle out of her head. Still kind of the same thing. That kind of neck piece is going to inhibit it a little bit. She goes all the way out with the arms. No bicep swivel, no butterfly joint, just like Anubis. Yeah, same single. Can only get 90 degrees on the arm. Swivel on the wrist. And same thing. No hindrance there with the kind of soft piece. And yeah, okay, so see, I have a little problem with this. Like mine tends to kind of fall apart here. And it's not a huge deal. You just kind of plug it back in, but it does affect her articulation somewhat. So her diaphragm, let me just make sure that's in there good. So she does get a secondary cut up here on like Anubis, so that's pretty good. But again, see, it's just, it keeps popping off. I have to do something about that later. But that is a little disappointing. So let me just get that back in. But yeah, so her ab crunch is a little affected by that. Like she could barely go forward. So it doesn't really work. And if I push it more than that, I already know it's just going to pop off. Her upper doesn't really come forward at all. So that's a little disappointing. So it really just kind of wiggles. No real good side to side either. You're not going to really get anything out of that. So a little disappointing. So articulations are not really doing what it's meant to do. Just need to point that out. So it does move a bit. So, to be fair, you could get a little movement out of it, but nothing to kind of write home about, but decent enough. Okay, and let's take a look. Oh, and yeah, you do get a swivel on the forearms. That's kind of obvious, right? So same thing, single joint on the knees, just like Anubis. Wish it was a double joint. And same kind of setup with the ankles. You get a swivel and a nice ankle rocker. So with her, especially since her ab crunch is kind of malfunctioning on mine, nothing crazy. Like, I could easily fix this. But I think a fair score for her would be 3.5. A little dated in terms of articulation. Could use like a bicep swivel, butterfly joint, just like Anubis, but still very solid. Like, you could get your poses out of both of these, no problem. Okay, so 3.8 for Anubis, 3.5 for Bastet. And I think those are very decent scores given just kind of the setup they have. So in terms of accessories, just because this is going to take a very long time to go over like one piece at a time, I'm just going to put pictures up and I'll kind of talk through them. So we'll start with Anubis, and you'll see a picture up right now. So he comes with that. I'm not sure what that is. Honestly, I'm not. I think Egyptian mythology is very interesting, but I'm a complete amateur with it. Like, I have no clue what's really going on with it. So if anyone knows, feel free to chime in. Um, he's got this kind of like golden stand with like a guard dog on it, maybe like a boreal guardian or something like that. No clue, but it looks really nice. So you get that with him. You do get alternate heads. You get like, it's kind of like a more ferocious, animalistic looking heads. And I'm not really sure what this eyepiece is. So there isn't like a kind of eyepiece that you get mounted on like a little L-shaped piece of plastic. Not sure what that's for. Still looks cool. You get like some kind of burial jar. You get his staff. You get a golden ankh. And you do get alternate hands. And what's nice is they did give bestial hands and just kind of regular human hands. And you get alternate like kind of animalistic feet also. And an alternate neck peg. So really solid set of accessories. No real complaints. 5 out of 5 in the accessories. So they were more than generous. Now, I will say that kind of like golden stand he has with a guard dog or like a statue of himself on it, mine would not plug in. So I actually had to kind of trim down like the back plug-in piece. Not a huge deal, but just need to throw that out there. So I tried heating it, everything. I just had to kind of trim down the little pegs that he slots into. So just throwing that out there. Okay, now, still a 5 out of 5. No complaints. The accessories, very generous. These figures are $60 each. We'll talk about that later. So that was more than deserved. Okay, so Bastet's accessories, just same as Anubis, just comes loaded with accessories. And these are really more kind of like diorama-based accessories, which I'm completely okay with. Very interesting, very unique. She gets 3 burial jars, and you'll see that here. She gets 3 alternate heads. Extremely well-designed heads. Like, I really like Bastet's heads in particular. Like, they look very nice. You get some kind of club. It looks like a club to me. You get like some kind of handheld shield piece, that little jade green one. You get a basket, you get alternate hands, you get alternate beast feet, and just like Anubis, you get the hands are kind of alternating. You get a few for her beast form, and you get just kind of more generic human hands also. And just like Anubis, you get kind of like a statue, like a jade green cat. Looks so nice. And these aren't like cheap accessories. Like, they have weight to them. Like that, these are just like really solid accessories. So easy 5 out of 5 for Bastet also. And no real complaints there. So they each get a 5. Let's talk about overall value. And just kind of thinking about these two in terms of overall value, it's unquestionably a 5 out of 5. Aside from just kind of like the more basic articulation, which I really don't care about. Like, these are really just, they're going to look so good just kind of standing there. And there you go. Just, she's falling apart. They look so good just kind of standing there that I have no problems whatsoever with their kind of basic articulation. Like, you could still get dynamic poses out of them. But they just look incredible. They come with amazing amount of accessories. The articulation is solid. So easily worth the $60 that I paid for each of them. Now, they do come as a set, so that $120 price tag might have been kind of like a surprise for a lot of people. But at the end of the day, they're each really just $60, so easily worth it for me. Get a ton of accessories. They come in like amazing boxes for people who collect boxes like me. And I don't really collect them. I just keep them because they look nice. But yeah, they look incredible. Come with amazing accessories. 5 out of 5 easily. Okay, so in terms of an overall rating for each of them, Anubis gets a 4.52. He just edges out Bastet a tiny bit in the articulation. He doesn't fall apart like her. I could have just got a little bit of a wonky copy, which I really don't care about. It's easy enough to fix, just a tiny piece of paper. He's very solid, so 4.52. And Bastet, she took a little bit of a hit in the articulation, so she gets a 4.4. very solid. And if you missed out on these, Four Horsemen's very good about re-releases, and I guarantee they're going to be re-released, maybe in like an even cooler color scheme. Who knows? So, just throwing that out there. So if you are interested in these, very high chance you'll be able to get them again. And who knows? I think they might even be in stock now. I didn't check, but just keep an eye open because they're pretty good about restocking. Okay, and just if you're interested in just quick size comparison, because I took them out. Let's get them next to each other. I always just call him Robert Baratheon for obvious reasons. And like I said, the female, like, she's got really good size on her, Bastet. She looks incredible. Like, just, she's not like a runt. Like, she looks like she'd go hand to hand with these two any day. So, Anubis is just straight imposing. He's pretty tall. Like, I don't have the brute scale figures, which I'm pretty sure are taller, but he's definitely big. So yeah, they look incredible, and really happy with these. So that's it. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. Great set of figures, definitely get them. Yeah, thanks for watching. Take care.